So Andrew, you always let people who are watching our educational videos know that we want to keep the retirement process for them simple, because we know exactly how difficult that may be with so many different plans to choose from out there and trying to keep all of those different plans organized. So today we're going to be talking about the differences and similarities between a Roth 401k and a Roth IRA. So if you are working for an employer who's going to offer you a Roth 401k, and you also may have outside of your employer a Roth IRA, or you're thinking about contributing to a Roth IRA, then this video is going to be for you. Hi, my name is Carson Graves, President and CEO of the Retirement Education Center.
And my name is Andrea, Director of Operations at the Retirement Education Center. And the reason we've created these educational videos is to make the difficult and confusing retirement process simple.
Absolutely, Andrea. And we do this by utilizing our team of strategic partners, ranging from certified financial analysts, certified financial planners, estate attorneys, insurance advisors, and other needed professionals to help us build a comprehensive and holistic plan to let our clients know when, where, and how they might reach their retirement goals.
For specialized strategies on how to maximize your retirement income, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when we upload new videos.
So Andrew, when it comes to retirement, there are so many different types of retirement vehicles that you can participate in. And to be very honest with those who are watching, and yourself, of course, there is no one size fit all. There is not one vehicle that's better than the other, because it really comes down to your unique financial profile, your age, how much money you're making. Your health is also important to determine what you should or should not be doing. Now, the one thing that we like to do in these short educational videos is point out or educate you about the similarities or the differences, pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages of doing any type of vehicle, not encourage any one thing over the other. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's educational video, talking about the differences between a Roth 401k, if your company offers one, versus having a regular Roth IRA. But before we get into that, there are two rules to your retirement income that we must always give you. And what are those two rules, Andrea?
Well, rule number one is to never run out of money, and rule number two is to never forget rule number one.
So if you're going to be offered a Roth 401k with your company, and also perhaps think about contributing to a Roth IRA, then I think it's really important that you understand the similarities and the differences between the two. So let's go ahead and dive into our lesson today to talk about the differences between, and similarities of course, between a Roth 401k and a Roth IRA. So let's go ahead and dive into our lesson today about a Roth 401k versus a Roth IRA. Now again, we're doing a series on retirement accounts and trying to open up the discussions about the differences and similarities between different types of retirement accounts, because it can get really, really confusing. And so we always want to be able to be in a position as financial professionals to educate people about their options that they're going to be faced with at any given time during their working years. So for 2021, and I always say that because these type of accounts can change on an annual basis. So we always say for 2021, here are some of the similarities between a Roth 401k and a Roth IRA. So just understand both are funded with after-tax money, meaning that you are going to pay taxes now when you're funding either of these accounts. Also, both accounts must adhere to the 5-year rule. If you don't understand the 5-year rule, of course, this comes up a lot when we're talking about Roth IRAs or Roth 401ks. I encourage you to go look at our videos on that particular subject matter. Neither account are taxed upon distribution. So when you take money from a Roth 401k or a Roth IRA at the appropriate times, neither of the distributions are going to be taxable. Now, both of these accounts will occur a early withdrawal penalty if you take the money out without following the rules. So just be aware of that both of the accounts can have a penalty if you do not follow the rules before age 59 and a half. Now, neither of these accounts will offer a tax deduction. Now, as we talked about in our prior video about a traditional 401k, if you put money in a traditional 401k, that will allow you to have a reduction on your income. That's not the case with a Roth 401k or a Roth IRA. You do not have a tax deduction like you would from a traditional 401k or a traditional IRA with these two accounts. So let's go ahead and talk about the differences between a Roth 401k versus a Roth IRA. Well, when you're talking about a Roth 401k, the first thing that's going to stand out with you is the contribution limits. The contributions limits for a Roth 401k is $19,500, or if you're over the age of 50 and older, you have a catch-up clause, and you can put a maximum in a Roth 401k of $26,000. In a Roth IRA, the contribution limits are $6,000 or $7,000 if you're 50 and older. So look at the vast difference of how much money you can put away for your retirement when you're looking at a Roth 401k versus a Roth IRA. Now, if you're able, you have the ability to do so, you absolutely can max out both of these type of accounts. You can have both at the same time. When you're looking at a Roth 401k, here's a major difference between a Roth IRA. A Roth 401k will have required minimum distributions that must be paid starting at age 72. Now, this can be avoided if you actually roll that Roth 401k over into a Roth IRA. So if you roll this over to a Roth IRA, these mandatory distributions at age 72 can be avoided. But if you leave it in that Roth 401k, you will have to start taking distributions out of that plan at age 72, much like at a traditional IRA. When you're looking at a Roth 401k, your employer may offer a match. So usually, if you have the option of saying, which should I do first, we're going to always encourage our clients to do a Roth 401k, because if it offers a match, that's free money and you don't want to give up on that. And then if you are able to max that out or due to the match amount, then maybe you'll decide to look at a Roth IRA or other retirement vehicles. So a Roth 401k does allow you to take a loan against it, much like a traditional 401k. You cannot take a loan from a Roth IRA. Just keep that in mind. You can take a loan from a Roth 401k. You cannot take a loan from a Roth IRA. So you can look at what they call a 60-day rollover option. With a 60-day rollover option, basically all you're doing is giving yourself the ability to have a quick short-term loan with that Roth IRA. So what that basically means is that you can take that money out, and as long as you put that money back into another Roth IRA within 60 days, you won't have to, if you took a distribution, of course, if you took that distribution, as long as you put it in another Roth IRA, you won't have to incur those penalties or taxes on any of the dollars that you took out. It's usually not a really good option that I would recommend for people to do. But if you're savvy and you're responsible and you want to think about doing something like that, yeah, you can do a 60-day rollover option and treat it as a loan of such, as long as that money goes back into a Roth IRA within the right amount of time. So another thing we will have to look at, a Roth 401k does not have any income limits. It's a really, really big deal. So if you make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, you do not have to worry about income limits, whether you can contribute to a Roth 401k. As we do know, if you've seen our other videos, we know that a Roth IRA does have income limits. So in looking at that, if you make over $140,000 as a single person or over $208,000 as a married couple, you cannot contribute to a Roth IRA at all. Now, of course, you always have the option, no matter what your income limits are, to do a Roth conversion. So I do encourage you to go out and take a look at a couple of videos that we created about what's a backdoor Roth and also a mega backdoor Roth. These are two important videos that you can check out to understand how you can, no matter what your income levels are, you can still get into a Roth IRA. So let's talk about what you might choose. And this may be an important decision that you have to make at some point. So if you have a higher income, then I am going to encourage you to take a look if your company offers it. And that's a big thing. Not all companies offers a Roth 401k. So if your plan offers it, you're going to want to look at doing a Roth 401k versus a Roth IRA. And we just discussed why. Because there are income limits to what you can do as far as participating in a regular Roth IRA. But there are no income limits when you're talking about a Roth 401k. If you want easy access to your money before retirement, then a Roth IRA may be something that you're going to want to consider. Why? Because with a Roth 401k, you cannot take the money out, your contributions, tax-free and penalty-free. before age 59 and a half. You have to do that through a loan. So they don't allow you, like a Roth IRA, your contributions that you make, you can actually go in there and take those out at any time without any penalties or taxation. Only, mark my word on that, only the contributions, not the earnings. But with a 401k, you cannot do that. You have to do that through loans. If you have more than $6,000 to contribute to your account, then obviously we just discussed this. You're going to want to do a Roth 401k, because the annual contribution limits for a 401k in 2021 for a Roth 401k is $19,500, $26,000 if you're 50 and older, where the max you can put into a Roth IRA is $6,000 or $7,000 if you're 50 and older. Now, if you want more control over your retirement income, then a Roth IRA might be more suitable for you. Why? Because there are no required minimum distributions when it comes to a Roth IRA. Distributions must start at age 72 when you're in a Roth 401k. So if you just wanted that flexibility of saying, okay, I want to make sure I have more control over my dollars, then a Roth IRA would be more in line than a Roth 401k. Not saying one is better than the other. It's just that you have to look at your situation personally and decide what may work out better for you. But understand, when you're dealing with a Roth 401k, you can even avoid the minimum distribution at 72, the required minimum distribution, if you roll over that Roth 401k into a Roth IRA. A lot of different rules if you're watching this video. I understand that. It can be confusing. So we always say, no matter what your situation may be, these videos are for educational purposes only, not to lean you towards any one thing or the other. So you're going to always want to consult with a financial advisor or a tax advisor about your particular situation. So I hope that this information was insightful in helping you understand the differences between a Roth 401k and a Roth IRA. Please remember that these videos are for educational purposes only. And anytime that you're going to make any financial decision, please consult with a financial advisor or tax advisor about your personal situation. For more information on this topic and any other topics that we've discussed in our other videos that we encourage you to go look at, please feel free to reach out to our office and leave any questions or comments in the section below.
To learn more about our services and how we can help you to increase your chances of not outliving your retirement savings, make sure to click on the link in the description below and sign up for our free Maximizing Your Retirement Income Masterclass. After this video, please check out our other videos that we've created that will give you tips on how to maximize your retirement. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you have questions,
we have answers.